Chat. Gotta go live. Gotta go live. Little Joan is being disruptive already.
Oh, gotta fix this.
Okay, we're good. We are live. We are live where we do it live. Welcome. Welcome to the live stream. Hollywoke Hot Take Live. I'm your host, Tony D. And this is Little Joan, who doesn't help at all. So, as always, we're in pregame before 7. So I tell you about my week. This was a crazy week for me. I know, Joe. I know. Here, you come here. Did you eat your treat? I gave you a treat so you would stay just a little longer. Anyhow, I did 5 events this week. That was nuts. I went to the Golden Nugget Tavern on Wednesday. And on Thursday, I went to Carter Chain is here. Hello, Tony. Hello, Carter Chain. Then on Thursday, I went to Tyler's Mill Senior Living Facility and did my talk on the Jersey Devil. I did it at the Golden Nugget, too. Then on Friday, I went to the comic book store. Ryan Citro is here. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Tony. Ryan says, the comic book store is just off the Rowan campus. And then Saturday was nuts. I went to a pirate festival, Yar, at Marcus Hook, PA. And that was outside, and the weather was beautiful. Oh, it was right on the water. We could see boats coming in. It was cool. It was a cool day. The pirates were setting off cannons. It was nuts. And I sold a ton of stuff that day. And then today, I was at the Elks Lodge in Toms River for the, I think they call that one, the Jersey Shore Comic Book Show. They have different names for the shows, and that was okay. It's been better when it's nice weather and certain shows. People kind of stay home or they go, outside. That's why I think the Pirate Festival was so good, because the weather was so nice. But had it been inside, it probably wouldn't have been as well attended. So the Elks Lodge was, it was okay. It just. Last time I did it, there were more people there. But the weather was different the last time. The last time I did it was in the winter time. So there were a lot more people there. Not as much to do in the winter, so people will go to a comic book show inside, So the weather's just been too great the past couple of days. We hit the end of summer here in South Jersey, and everything's cooled off to around, it's been between high 50s and high 70s. So vastly. At night, it drops down. The lowest it got was like 58. And then today, the highest it got was 77. Beautiful day. Little humid, but beautiful otherwise. Still wearing shorts. Yeah, still wearing shorts. That's nice. I usually hold out on my shorts until I'm freezing, walking the dog somewhere, and then I go, okay. Shorts are done. I have to start wearing jeans. I had a friend he was one of those guys that wore shorts year round because he said he'd acclimate to the cold and then just wear them all the time. I don't know. I tried it one year and it's too cold. I said, I gotta put on pants. And he just like, oh no, I never put on pants. Like one time I saw him with pants. It was like 3 below. It was freezing, and he didn't even have pants. He was a mountain climber, so he had mountain climbing pants, which are like, I don't know. They look like something a rejected superhero would wear. They're super tight. They're like I don't know, latex maybe. I don't know if they're latex. They're probably made of something else, but they're super warm and super thin, so you could still keep climbing. Because, it must be great to climb a mountain in 0-degree weather. Anyhow, welcome to the live stream. A little burned, thanks to the show, but not so burned that I can't go over the box office. So let's get into the box office. Another interesting week in Hollywoke. Boom, the winner is The Nun 2. For a second week in a row is number 1. Is this the new Barbie? Are women dressing up as nuns and getting getting their margaritas on and going to see The Nun 2? That would be crazy. You go from wearing pink to wearing nun costumes and like horror makeup. But it just barely edged out A Haunting in Venice, which opened this week. So The Nun 2 did 14.73 million, and A Haunting in Venice did 14.5. Just missed number one. Oh, excuse me. They kind of made A Haunting in Venice more of a bit of a horror movie. It's supposedly, a mystery, but they kind of spun the horror movie element into it, I think, to get people to watch it. It's a shame, because I like Kenneth Branagh. I think he's a good director, and this is sort of a classic story. Like Agatha Christie. I think it is Agatha. Is it Agatha Christie? Is that A Haunting in Venice? Is that one of her? I think it is. Yeah, there it is. Is it Agatha Christie? Yeah. Based on the novel Halloween Party. Halloween Party. I kind of like that one better. I kind of like that name better. Halloween Party. I guess, maybe that wouldn't be the most marketable name. People might think it's something else, but still. Written by Michael Green, the screenplay version, and directed by Kenneth Branagh. But still, it did okay business, I guess. 14.5 to open. The Nun, which just barely beat it, dropped 55% from last week. Carter Chain. Are there any big horror movies set to release soon for Halloween, or is The Nun 2 the biggest we're getting this year? That's a good question. Let's see what we got on here. Trending. Most anticipated movies. Five Nights at Freddy's still hasn't come out yet. That one is a horror movie, and they've been pimping the hell out of that. So I would say Five Nights at Freddy could be bigger. I believe it's based on a video game, and they've been talking about this movie for months. I don't really see the appeal. I mean, it looks fine. It doesn't look bad. It's just like they're talking about, the Five Nights at Freddy's, Five Nights at Freddy's. People have done parody trailers of it. So I guess they're expecting that to do big business. Let's see what else. We'll check the coming soon. Coming soon movies. I can never find the link on IMDb. I have to go to the thing. All right, let's see what's coming out. Route 60, The Biblical Highway. I don't think that's a horror movie. September 22nd, The Expendables 4. That's kind of big, I guess. I don't know. Megan Fox is in it as one of the Expendables. It seems like they're at the end. It Lives Inside. I'm not sure what that is. That sounds like a horror movie. They're re-releasing Stop Making Sense. The Origin of Evil. That sounds like a horror movie. I don't know that one. Relax, I'm from the Future. That looks kind of funny. That's Rice Darby. Creepers Are Us. Comedy horror. I don't recognize anybody in that. William Conklin. I kind of know that name. Surprised by Oxford. Don't know that. The Blind. Don't know that. The Creator. Yeah, it's more of an action sci-fi thing. Saw 10. If you like those movies. I kind of hate those movies. I think they're dumb. I guess that's coming out for Halloween. Paw Patrol. Not scary. The Kill Room. Maya Hawke and Samuel Jackson. Uma Thurman and Joe Manganiello. Yeah, I'm not thinking that's going to be big. 57 Seconds. I forget that one. Invisible Beauty, Carlos and Warrior Strong. September 30th, Canelo versus Charlo. I don't know what that is. October. Speed, the biography. I don't know what that is. The Idiots. Don't know the names in that. Dreams of Darkness. Oh, that sounds like a horror movie. The Exorcist Believer. That one looks good because this is a direct sequel to The Exorcist, so it's possible it could be good. And Ellen Burstyn, who was in the original one, is in it. So it could be good. The Royal Hotel. That didn't look good. It's an Australian movie about two girls who go to the outback and they get jobs at this hotel out in the middle of nowhere. Hugo Weaving is the big star. And then the locals are kind of mean to them. Kind of. It didn't really even show you in the trailer. And then things escalate according to the description, but they don't really show it in the trailer. And I don't know. I think they start killing each other. It doesn't seem like it's much of a thriller. Seems like one girl clearly shouldn't have taken the job, makes a big deal out of everything, but I don't know. I didn't see the movie. Only saw the trailer. Foe, I forget what that's about. None of these are very memorable, I don't think. Cat Person, Johnny Z, no idea. Heart of Darkness. Joan Baez, I Am Noise, that's a documentary. Aberrance? It's a crime drama horror. And judging by the names, I have no idea what country this is from. Gonna guess. Let's say Vietnam, but oh man, those names. Could be India. Not sure. Taylor Swift, Eras Tour. Be the next Barbie movie. Ordinary Angels. That doesn't look good. Divinity, Bhagwan Barros. Ryan Citro. Tony, I know a guy who was reborn 2 times. The first one, Robert Naughton, born 1709, somewhere in England, and died in London, England, 1789. And then Henry Brown, born in 1801 in Albany, New York, died in 1890. So, I'm not sure what you're trying to say, Ryan Citro. Are those guys vampires? October 14th, Open Secret. October 20th is Killers of a Flower Moon, which isn't a horror movie, but it does look good. Martin Scorsese. Leonardo DiCaprio. Also, The Radical. I don't know what that is. The Domino Revival on the 24th. Here you go, the 27th, Five Nights at Freddy's. I would say that's the big one, and maybe The Exorcist for horror. Freelance, comedy starring Alison Brie and John Cena. God help me. Inspector's Son and the Curse of the Black Widow. That doesn't sound great. After Death, a documentary. Miracle in East Texas. It's like a re-release or something. On Halloween, The Canterville Ghost animation comedy. Listen Carefully, a horror movie. Dark Haven. I think I looked at that one. I think I didn't like it. A Wicked Breed. And There Is No Sanctuary. So a bunch of stuff is dropping on Halloween. So one of those might be good. But if I had to bet money, I would bet money on Five Nights at Freddy's and possibly the Exorcist sequel. And possibly The Nun will still be floating around. A Haunting in Venice is also kind of Halloween-y. Number 3, The Equalizer did $7.2 million. Still in the mix. Doing okay. 132 million worldwide. Not super big, but might not even be money, really. I mean, they shot the thing in Italy. Number 4, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. I don't think there's any way in hell they spent a lot of money on this, but it only made 23 million. I think they spent more than that. Might do well in streaming. Barbie, still in theaters, 3.9 million. Jawan, which is an Indian movie, I believe, has done 15 million worldwide. It's been out 2 weeks. It's not looking great. Blue Beetle is at 117 million and just about done. Made 2.4 million this week. Yeah, so next week it'll do like 1 million and it'll just keep going down from there. Gran Turismo, based on a true story, number 8, 2.3 million. I don't think this is money at all. 102 million. I think this movie, I think they put a bit of money in that one. Not as much as Blue Beetle, but I mean, you got 2 fairly big name stars. Probably did a lot of CGI on the cars to save money on the stunts. Yeah, I think 102 is not enough worldwide. And they're already taking it out of theaters. Oppenheimer did 2.1 million. Is it half of Barbie? Pretty much. Strange. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, $2 million. It's in its 7th week. Still hanging on. Yeah. Ryan Citro, I don't know, but it is impossible, but it was true, and I think scientists are finding out about the guy Robert Naughton being reborn in the body of Henry Brown. I have no idea what you're talking about, Ryan Citro. So, you're saying Robert Naughton was born and then died, and then he was reborn as Henry Brown. How do they know he was reborn? Number 11 is Bottoms, the comedy, quote unquote, did 9.8 million. I don't know, man. Doesn't seem like money, but they may have spent nothing on making this thing. Number 12, the Meg 2, The Trench, 695K, 385 million worldwide. It's doing pretty good. I mean, worldwide. Talk to Me. Still in theaters with like 500,000, 64 million. They're already signed a sequel for this. I think they're going to try to do at least a trilogy. Haunted Mansion, Why, 500,000, did 106. Again, no way that's money. This overhead on this movie looked enormous. A lot of big name stars, lots of effects, and probably pimped the hell out of it in an attempt to get it going. Strays surprisingly didn't do great. 32 million, probably not money. I think maybe on streaming this will do some business, but I'd like to see it, but now I'm worried it really blows. Number, what are we on? 13, 14, 15, 16, The Hill, baseball movie. These used to do well. I mean, 7.1 million, that is not good. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And that's why the movie is 2.5 hours long. 566 million, still making a little bit of money. Ooh, wow. Number 17, Dumb Money. Ooh. Debuts. Oh, it's in 8 theaters, but still. 217,000? Why do that? This had Pete Davidson in it. And, I forget the kid's name. The actor, the lead actor. Oh, God, I can't think of his name. Number 18, The Inventor, also premiered. 201,000. That's in 700 theaters. Jeez. This does not look good at all. That is not a lot of money for 700 theaters. So what's that break down to? Like, I don't know. Let's see. 700. It's like 300 a theater or something. Ryan Citro. Maybe, Tony, it was religion that made Robert Naughton being reborn to Henry Brown. Maybe Robert Naughton was praying to God to be reborn to Henry Brown. Henry Brown? I don't know, man. I'm completely confused as to what you're talking about. Should I be Googling this? Feels like a Da Vinci Code moment. And I Google it, and then all the secrets of the universe come alive in my browser. After The Inventor, there's Golda. This movie had so much controversy, and it's doing nothing. 4.3 million, 4.4 million worldwide. I mean, geez. No way it cost that low. Elemental, 100K. Why bother? Americazzi is in 3 theaters. Has done $168,000. Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. That name is way too long. It's dropped by 86%. It's only done $373,000. Yuck. Cat Video Fest still is in theaters. I don't know why. Fremont, Theater Camp, Jules, and then 2 other movies debuted in a handful of theaters. Canary. The tagline is the closest living things to Indiana Jones. It's a weird assertion. And it made $88,350. That doesn't sound like it's a very good movie. 3 theaters. It's about less than $3,000 each. Sounds pretty bad. And Radical Wolf. I don't know who this is. $8,270. Oops, hit the wrong button. Whatever this is, it's not doing well. Let's see. Let's check the IMDb and see what the hell this is. This is the worst movie of the weekend. With a distinctive style all his own, author and journalist Tom Wolfe reshapes how American stories are told. Oh, it's a documentary about Tom Wolfe. Well, no wonder. I don't even know why they put this in the theater. Yeah, that's... Nobody reads books anymore. You think they're going to watch a documentary about a guy who writes them? I mean, maybe Stephen King. Maybe. But there was a story this week. I don't know if I even have it on my tabs, but King is getting dragged. Stephen King is getting dragged. Carter Chain. Who is Tom Wolfe? He's a famous author. I believe he wrote The Right Stuff. I think that's one of his books, I want to say. And The Bonfire of the Vanities? Didn't he write that too? Yeah, The Right Stuff. Let's see if they have a list of his books. Novels. The Bonfire of the Vanities. Yeah, I got it right. Wow. The Right Stuff is in there. Ambush at Fort Bragg. A Man in Full. I Am Charlotte Simmons and Back to Blood. So he wears a white suit, and he's just kind of known for being, I don't know, a little bit dapper and being an author. Carter Chain, is he from a very long time ago? I saw the Carson show in the trailer. I think he was around during the Carson show. I mean, he's still alive now. He was on The Simpsons. I remember that. Yeah, he's 88, so he has been around a while. Oh, I remember. His first big book was the Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test, which was 1968. That's the most 60s book you could possibly buy. And then The Right Stuff, Bonfire of the Vanities. That was made into a terrible movie with Bruce Willis. He was on The Simpsons, and it was the episode where Lisa helps Moe become a poet, and then Moe shafts her in accepting an award, doesn't acknowledge her accomplishment of helping him, and Tom Wolfe is like he plays himself. He's like one of the authors at the I think they call it Word Loaf, the awards. And there's a bit where he asks the audience, because they're having a dinner, if they would save any uneaten mashed potatoes for him, and then they pass the mashed potatoes to him, and he puts them all in a bin so he could have them for later. But I don't think I've read any of his books. Yes, I know. I should read more. But yeah, I don't know if I'd like any of his books, quite frankly. It's more of a journalist novelist, if that makes any sense. Like he worked for newspapers, and then he became a novelist like they used to, because it used to be that journalists were actually pretty decent writers. Ow, Joan, you're kicking me in the ribs. Take it easy. He was from that era where, at least the guys who reported stuff could write, even if they were working for the CIA and Operation Mockingbird. But yeah, so I'm not sure why they made this documentary or why they bothered to release it in a theater. Perhaps it was just a vanity thing for Tom Wolfe himself, so he could take his friends or point to a marquee and say, "See, my documentary's out. Isn't that cool? They made a documentary about me." If they made a documentary about me, I imagine it would make people very hungry, because they would talk about all the food I ate and all the places I would go to eat food. So, because that's mostly what I do. I write books and I eat food. That's pretty much it. I used to play video games, but I just don't have the time. In fact, tonight I ate a fantastic stromboli from Casa d'Amico. It's so good. I treated myself this weekend because I was so busy. I didn't have time to cook anything. And it's so huge, the stromboli. Normally I eat it in thirds, but I was super hungry last night and I ate half. And I was super hungry coming home tonight and I ate the other half. And now I'm in a food coma, struggling to stay awake. Let's talk about strombolis for a half hour. No, I won't do that. No, we have to talk about movies, damn it. Let's get into the trades. Okay, so lots of strike stuff happened this week. Drew Barrymore paused the return of her talk show. Oh no! I know you're all very disappointed you won't be able to watch Drew Barrymore's talk show, where she has no writers and is even more boring by herself. I don't know why, it would be a big deal for her show to come back. It seems to me she could do the show with no writers. Right? It's just an interview show. I mean, it was probably going to be stupid and boring anyway, even with writers, so I don't see the problem of having the show come back, although they might discover, hey, we can do this show without writers. Why did we hire them in the first place? But it seems like Drew Barrymore's show is in a different classification. If anything, the AIs could do the job of any writer on the show simply by ask the AI, come up with 10 questions for this celebrity or this person. I'm pretty sure the AI could do that, and then Drew could go through the questions and say, well, I like 8 of these questions and I'll ignore the other 2. Like something like that. Carter Chain, she had a talk show? Does Adam Sandler show up every episode to carry it? Nope. No, he does not, sadly. Yeah, like Drew Barrymore has been in movies since she was 10, and for some insane reason decided to make the switch to talk show host, kind of like Oprah, although kind of not as fat, but definitely as, you know, it was very sort of, her look was very wine mom, if you know what I mean. Joan, I got to get you off my lap. I'm about to throw up from the heat of having you sit on my lap all this time. Ooh. So her most famous moment on her talk show was having Dylan Mulvaney on the show and kissing his butt to the point at which she got down on her knees and basically, prostrated herself in front of Dylan as some sort of offering, or as trying to make Dylan out to be some sort of God who walks among us, so stunning and brave. It was sickening. And yeah, Drew Barrymore kind of if she was cool, I think that moment ended it. All right, Joan, I'm going to put you down. I'll put you on the floor. You got to be good, okay? Not like last week. All right? So be a good doggy. Go sit in your bed or whatever you're doing. No, don't make a lot of noise. So, and she's just, I don't know. I guess now she's hit middle age. She doesn't know what to do, and she thought a talk show would be a good idea because, I mean, people did like her. You know, I liked her for a long time, even when she did Charlie's Angels, which wasn't particularly good, but her version at least was, well, at least it had Cameron Diaz dancing around in a pair of panties. That was something. And Lucy Liu, not hard to look at, and she was looking pretty good in that movie. But now it just, I don't know, it's kind of sad. I wanted to root for her, and now I'm just sort of sickened by her. I don't like this new Drew. Seems woke and stupid and cringe. And now she doesn't know what to do. I mean, the smart thing would be to double down and say, screw the unions. But now she's going to pause the return of her talk show. Do you think the unions will be happy she did that? I don't think they're going to forgive her. But whatever. It's just a stupid show. I don't really care. I don't watch TV anymore. Hardly ever. The only stuff I saw at Drew's show were clips on YouTube after everybody complained about it. It's like, I'm like 5th or 4th removed from that. I mean, by the time I see it, it's been on for weeks. Let's see. The Talk, which is another talk show, because we don't have enough of them, postpones return to CBS following Drew Barrymore, so they got scared too. Now that show is weird because it had a bunch of different people on it before, but right now it has Jerry O'Connell and his hot wife Rebecca James Stamos, or no, I guess her last name isn't Stamos. I don't know what her name is now. You know, the hot chick that was the first blue mutant in X-Men. What's her name? I can't think of her name. You know who I mean. Too tired to think of comic book character names. So she's hot. There's no doubt about it. But I don't know what. I haven't heard anybody complain about the talk, but who the hell watches these shows? I guess older women. That's it. You know, they're the only ones home in the day, and they watch it, or they watch it while they're at work, because that's a thing people do now, which is totally annoying. If you have to interact with somebody at work, right? Yeah, you go into a doctor's office and the receptionist is watching TV when the TV is supposed to be for the patients waiting and trapped in the waiting room. They put this crap on and you got to sit through it. I don't want to sit through a stupid talk. I don't want any TV on when I'm in the waiting room, quite frankly, because why would you watch? First off, why would you watch TV? You're going to get called up to the doctor at some point, and you're not going to get to see the end of the show. It's annoying. I don't know what show you would want to watch in that period of time, and no one's going to agree. No, a group of strangers isn't going to agree on what to watch. There's nothing to watch. Don't even put a TV in the waiting room. That's what magazines were made for, a waiting room. And yes, there are no real magazines anymore. So, I don't know, put books in them. Put some comic books in them. Let people just do stuff on their phone. You know what you could do? Just put in a bunch of headsets. So people come in and like, okay, I will watch TV and put in a headset, put on my headset and watch TV and listen to it and nobody can hear me. And then, you know, maybe the headset has a special thing so you could get called by the doctor. Oh, you've got headset number 5, okay. And then you're watching TV and they push a button, headset number 5. It is time for your appointment with Dr. Stallinger. And you go, oh. And then you take the headsets out, you turn them in, and I don't know, germ it up for the next guy. They could wipe it off. But even so, even if I had that, I wouldn't watch the talk. It's on CBS, the network for old people. Television is for old people now. I mean, CBS, I guess that's for the people that are dying. I don't know what they're going to do when television goes off the air. What are they going to watch then? Nothing, I guess. Oh my God. Billy Miller, the young and restless and General Hospital actor, dies at 43. I'm not saying oh my God because I knew the person, but oh my God, they were only 43. Have you noticed a lot of people just suddenly dying? I have. Let's see if he had anything. He was struggling with manic depression when he died. That doesn't sound good. So, he battled with tarsal coalition, a rare condition affecting the cartilage in his ankles. Ooh. Wow, this guy had some issues. He's in a lot of stuff, though. Crazy. Well, that one could go either way. Here's another one. The Jennifer Hudson Show. I have no idea who this even is. Pushes back return amid writer strike. So that's 3 shows that aren't coming back. So Drew ruined it for everybody. Drew was coming back. The Talk was coming back. The Jennifer Hudson Show was coming back. And Drew, you blew it. You blew it, Drew. The only one that's coming back now is Bill Maher, my old boss. I don't think he gives an F. He'll come back. He knows he can't back down. Drew, I don't know. She put up an apology and then took it down like the absolute worst thing you could do. Oh, I apologize. Wait, I don't. So you piss off everybody. You piss off the people who wanted an apology and the people who didn't want you to apologize. So there you have it. Let's see. U2 shoots video for new Atomic City single in downtown Las Vegas with Larry Mullen Jr. back in tow. That's weird. Didn't they shoot one of their music videos in Las Vegas before? That was like 3 or 4 albums ago, back in, I think it was back in the 80s, the late, like, I want to say 89. They're fascinated with Las Vegas. U2 used to be, for you kids out there, YouTube used to be the pretentious band that all the young people were into, and that you wouldn't understand, Dad. They were very pretentious. And in fact, I wrote a comedy sketch back in college making fun of YouTube, because back in the day, MTV would have contests with various bands back in the 80s. And it was always like, oh, you get to party with Van Halen. Woo! So my parody sketch was, you get to party with U2. But they're all about social justice, and they're all boring, and they do a bunch of boring stuff. So it's kind of funny that they're so, I don't know, mainstream now. They're not even mainstream anymore. They're past mainstream. They're like old people music, I guess, or just on the verge at least. Who listens to YouTube anymore? I think the last thing YouTube did that people finally said no more was the free album with, like, I want to say the iPhone that nobody could get rid of, and they hated it. God, that was annoying. I deleted my free YouTube album because I didn't want it. And I didn't have any other music in my phone. And I deleted the YouTube album. I didn't want it. And I kind of like U2. I like a few of their songs, but that album, I was just like, what the hell is this? And it's weird too, because we went from downloading any song you wanted on the internet at any time, which was so awesome, to you can only have certain songs if you pay for them, until you have to get a new phone or a new platform, and then you have to buy them all again, which just sucks. And now I just listen to music on YouTube. If I remember a song, I do a search for it and I watch it. All I have to do is like it, and then it puts it into my feed forever on YouTube. All right, what's any more on the strike? Hollywood strike, VIP Plus and Variety experts suss out the latest. I think they're supposed to have a meeting this week again, but the rumor is they're going to try to drag this out to the end of the year. So this could be every week. Oh, well, they're going to meet next week. Oppenheimer surpasses 900 million at worldwide box office. Was that true? Let us see. It is true. So it could maybe make $1 billion. I don't know. Seems like it would be just short of that. It's 912 million. It's pretty damn close, though. I mean, it made 2 million this week. That's a lot of ground to make up. Another 80 million or so. I don't think it's going to make it, but here's another semi-famous person that died at 43. What the hell, man? Irish Grinstead, member of R&B girl group 702. I have no idea who they are, but dead at 43? A lot of people just dropping dead. Cause of death not provided. Suspicious. Did I mention I'm very happy I never took a certain medical procedure? It's terrible, though. I think it's that, but what do I know? I'm not a doctor. Barbie outpaces The Avengers as 11th highest grossing domestic release in history. Yeah, they're going to be making a sequel to that. I don't know what they're going to do, but yeah. Oh, and this was a big story this week. Russell Brand, rape and sexual assault allegations being investigated by BBC and Banny J UK. I don't know what that is. This is all sounding suspiciously timed. Seems like he's being Me Too'd very hard, very subtly. A lot of these things, they kind of wind up like they don't get coordinated. It's kind of like you hear a rumor, somebody comes forward, and then other people come forward in a big mishmash over a, I don't know, 2 or 3 week period. This is just like, boom, 4 women accuse him. Like, what? How did they all coordinate that? It sounds very suspicious to me, but I don't know the real deal, but I think they may be trying to just cancel him. There's a lot of theories going around, like he's sort of, since he's sort of switched sides, you might say, kind of, not really. They're trying to cancel him, or they set him up to be canceled. Either way, it just sounds very suspicious. A lot of people are coming to his defense. He went forward with a performance like nothing happened, which I think was probably a smart move. But it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. If he gets off, I mean, Me Too is just finished. Like, if he comes out of that unscathed, what's going to happen when somebody actually gets assaulted? That's the problem. Like, Me Too is not ruining it. It's not only ruining it for people they may or may not have falsely accused, but they're definitely ruining it for any actual victims. So they should just stop. They don't seem to be a credible organization, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm leaning towards it's BS. Checking over at Bounding into Comics. The big news this week was all about Fables creator Bill Willingham released his series to the public domain. But then yesterday, DC Comics came out and said, no, we're going to protect our investment or whatever. Now, if I understand it correctly, it's kind of similar to, say, the Mighty Thor, right? So the Mighty Thor is owned by Marvel Comics. You can't do the Mighty Thor. You can't do, a blonde guy who looks like him with a hammer that looks like the hammer and then it has the rings on his chest. You can't do that. That's the Marvel's Mighty Thor. But you can do your own version of Thor, as long as he doesn't look the same or looks distinguished. The metric is likelihood of confusion, right? So a lot of people, when they do Thor in independent comics, will give him red hair because he actually had red hair, I think, in the Norse mythos. So the idea then would be you can do your own version of Fables, but you can't do DC Comics' version of Fables. You can't do their look. You can use their names, you can use their characters and concepts, kind of, but you can't use their looks at all, I believe. Don't quote me on it, but I never got into Fables. I heard it was decent. I'm not sure what that's going to do. I'm not sure if those characters iconic enough. Do you think people would use them in other stories? Maybe. I think they were based on Fables, right? I mean, it wasn't a bad move. It's something I've considered on some of my own work, but I don't know. It seems like he could have gotten a lawyer and maybe fixed his problem rather than doing this, but who knows? Viz Media censors lewd dialogue related to Giselle Gilwey from global localization of Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War. And that concludes the Weeb News. I have no idea. No idea what this anime is, or manga, or whatever it is. Well, it's Viz Media, so I assume weebs love it. The Anti-Defamation League raised its head this week and said they're teaming up with a watchdog organization, Common Sense Media, to monitor the entertainment industry for anti-Semitism, to which I said, isn't that what you guys do anyway? You just see something and say, that's anti-Semitism. We're going to boycott you unless you do things. But they seem to be rapidly losing their credibility as quickly as the ACLU did, in my view. So, it'll be interesting to see if Elon buries them in court. He could very well do it with all the money he has. Dan DiDio explained to Mark Millar he went behind editors to deal with talent when he took charge of DC Comics. To which I say, that didn't seem to help your comics. I don't know, I read stuff during the DiDio years. I didn't think it was particularly good. In fact, I thought it was too sort of like, this is before everything went woke. It became very self-referential. You know, DC Crisis on Infinite Earths was like a big deal, but then he was doing crossovers with other Crisis on Infinite Earths, which I was just like, what? Who the hell wants to see it again? Like, why wouldn't you do something different? I don't know. Excuse me. Glad you're not in this room, if you heard that. Again, I had a big Stromboli right before I came on here. Also in comics, oh yeah, Alan Moore, if you thought he was a communist before, first he announced, or I think he re-announced, because I think this was already known, but he, jeez, I stunk up the whole area. He told DC Comics to send all his future royalty checks to BLM, which, I mean, it's one thing to, I don't know, try to screw over DC Comics. I could see there could be an organization you could send your money to give the finger to DC. I don't know what organization that would be. Maybe the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, but not really. I have problems with them too. Can't really go into it. I mean, maybe he could have sent his money to a charity. Like, there's a charity for old-timey comic book guys. Could have sent his money there. That would have been nice. To send it to BLM, which has clearly been exposed, in my view, as a complete grift from beginning to end. Like, how is that an FU to DC Comics? It's like saying, well, DC, you must hate people of color, so I'm going to send all my money to people of color. Yeah, the two that are going to steal it move to Los Angeles, like Patrice Cullors? I don't think so. I don't think so. And then he followed it up with this. Watchmen creator Alan Moore criticizes Frank Miller's work as sub-fascist, whatever that means, says his portrayal of Batman as a one-man hero in The Dark Knight Returns was a bit too Birth of a Nation. Like, what are you talking about, dude? I think we all read The Dark Knight Returns. I don't think we thought, oh, racist. No, it wasn't. I think you just don't like Frank Miller's. I don't even think he dislikes his politics. I think he dislikes his perceived politics. Because, like a lot of people on the left, he sees anybody who doesn't support his politics as a right-wing lunatic. Now, Frank has, I think, some views that are a little loony. I disagreed with him on an anti-war comic one time. I may have been a little harsh, but I thought he was a little hard on the Occupy Wall Street people at the time. I mean, now looking back on it, maybe not. I don't know, but at the time I thought, Occupy Wall Street. I mean, they had their issues, but they weren't. It didn't seem like they were harmful commies, I'll say. In fact, I think a group of them raised a bunch of money and paid off people's houses, which I thought was good. But Frank really went after them verbally. But, you know, whatever. He also did, what was it called? I think it was called The Red Menace or something. And it actually was originally a pitch for Batman versus Al Qaeda. He actually pitched this comic where Batman kills terrorists or goes after terrorists. I don't know if he kills them or not. But the DC didn't want to do it, so he ended up doing his own version of the story without Batman. Like, I forget the name of the character, but basically he's Batman. And basically he runs around New York City killing terrorists. Which I haven't been able to locate a copy, but one of these days I got to get a copy and read the damn thing. Because it does sound interesting. So yeah, so Alan Moore. God, is any more people going to come out of the woodwork as a lunatic leftist that I just got to like not support anymore? I mean, it's just, can't they just stop? Like Stephen King putting politics in his horror books, it's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. You know? He's just, how are you going to put your politics in a horror book? I mean, that's a horror show for you, because who the hell wants to read that? It's a horror show for your career and your agent probably, but for anybody else, it's like, dude, really? In the horror book? When people look back on this era and they go through various entertainment and see what they've done to themselves, how they over and over again just to humiliate themselves over Trump, over just, you know, being so left that they can't say or do anything else. It's just going to be, people will be aghast in the future looking back on this time. They're just going to be aghast looking at this stuff going, wow. You know, they'll look at his old stuff and say, oh, it's, you know, Pet Sematary. It's pretty crazy, but pretty good book, maybe. Christine, that's all right. And then they'll get to this book. I don't even know what it's called and go, what the F, man? What the F? You're talking about politics in a horror book. You know? And they say Steve Ditko was crazy. I don't think he was crazy. I think he had his, I think he had very strong views, but I think that's what made him interesting. Lucasfilm upgrades Star Wars Lando spin-off from Disney Plus series to feature-length film. This would have been a good move, I guess, 3 or 4 years ago. Now it just seems too late that they're going to do a Lando film starring Donald Glover. I don't know, man. Seems like that is not going to be good. Star Wars is done, I think. I mean, Donald Glover is talented. His team is talented. Atlanta was a decent show. I watched the first season. It was pretty watchable. It was interesting. I think it should have went full-blown comedy or full-blown drama, but it was all right. Watchable. Carter Chain should have done it right after Solo. I don't know about that. Solo was pretty damn bad. I mean, there was literally one scene that was good in Solo, and the rest of it was crap. But I guess you could have. I don't know. It just... I just think... if they'd done it right after Solo, I bet Donald Glover and his brother wouldn't be writing and directing the damn thing. It would be the idiots that... it would have been Kathleen Kennedy's people. And then you could kiss it goodbye. I think the only reason him and his brother get a shot at doing this is, number one, they have a bit of a track record. Number two, it was originally going to be a TV show. They were coming off a TV show. And number three, since they changed it from a TV show to a movie, they probably couldn't get rid of them in their deal, or they wouldn't even do it, right? So Glover at least has them over a barrel. They can't do the show or the movie without him, so he can make demands. So I think they'll have enough power to do something halfway decent. At least it'll be better than Solo, but maybe not. I mean, maybe he'll just take his paycheck and his massive, massive paycheck and call it a day. I don't know if I'd blame him. Some of those paychecks are pretty big. Do this movie, make yourself $20 million, and F off to a tropical island with some hot babes. Man, Solo was so bad, though. My friend dragged me to that movie, and I said, this is going to be awful. And it was. Except for the one scene where he meets Chewbacca for the first time. That was kind of cool. But everything else was like, oh, God, what is this movie? I couldn't even figure it out. Made no sense. The money didn't make any sense. Nothing made sense in the movie. The money was a big factor, too, because there's a big scene where they're playing cards and betting, and it's just a bunch of crazy coins on the table. They're like, what is this money? Do they even have money in Star Wars? What is it? What were those white boxes Han Solo was loading in the first movie? That was his payment. White boxes of what? They never established it. They never established the money in Star Wars. They never established what was valuable, and then suddenly in this movie they say, oh yeah, this thing. This is the valuable thing. These little nodules of things. You could use a hyper jump or whatever. Should have explained that earlier on. I mean, at least Star Trek had dilithium crystals. The whole franchise is dead. I think, I don't know. I wouldn't turn down 20 mil, but maybe Donald Glover could have. Over at the Hollywood Reporter, Anderson Cooper on having second thoughts about defending CNN's Trump town hall, his complicated Vanderbilt legacy, and plunging ahead after Chris licked. Yes, it's very important, right? I mean, I'm sure you're all watching CNN to get all your news. And Anderson Cooper, of course. You got to be like 80 to watch this channel, I think. It's a joke. It's a damn joke. More of the same stories. Oh, here was an article I just love. Paranormal Activity, stage play in the works. So they're going to take Paranormal Activity and turn it into a Broadway play. Who the F would see that? Who the F is going to see a stage play about Paranormal Activity? How are they even going to do it? How are they going to do the footprints in the baby powder? How are they going to do that? I guess there'll be a way, but like, you know how much it costs to go see a Broadway play? I mean, it's nuts. When I was still married, my in-laws bought us tickets to see Book of Mormon, which was the only play I was interested in seeing on Broadway. They asked, I said, the only one I would ever go see is Book of Mormon. And that I would love because it's a South Park, guys. And it was fantastic, by the way. It's absolutely awesome. So, we get tickets. And I believe, I don't think they were $1,000 a piece, but they were pretty close. I think it was $1,500 for both tickets. And we were in the worst seats in the theater. We're all the way in the last row, all the way at the top. My knees were in my chest because the seats are so close together. And we're looking down, like the seat is angled this way, and we're practically looking straight down on top of the stage. It was ridiculous. But I did enjoy the play. However, the seat was very uncomfortable. it included nothing. That was just the seat. That was just to get in there and sit inside. You didn't get a T-shirt. You didn't get a flyer. Nothing. That like $750 for a seat to see the play. That's too much money, even for that. I mean, it was a good play, but $750. It better come with a naked girl and a hot dog. It just was not worth it. Not worth it. Now, plays are even more expensive now. I mean, I've seen, and we were in a crappy seats. If we had had a good seat, it would have been $3,000 a seat. Like over $5K for two people to see a play? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Who can afford these things? Only rich people. Only the richest people in the world can blow that kind of money on a night at the theater. They're the only people. Too much. And you're going to go see Paranormal Activity, a movie that wasn't even that good, as a stage play. There wasn't even that much dialogue in this thing. They're going to walk around the stage talking about the ghost that you can't even see and how it's making her do things. Part of the whole movie was seeing the footage that they kept taping of themselves being attacked by the evil entity. That was the creepy part of the movie. You're not going to see that in a stage play. I don't know what you're going to see. Is it going to be a musical? Are they going to sing too? What the hell kind of play is that? I'd rather go see an original play. But quite frankly, I wouldn't want to pay that kind of money for an original play either. I love the South Park guys, and I thought the Book of Mormon was great, but I wouldn't have paid $750 a ticket. I just wouldn't have paid. I just would have been, that's too much money. Is there a cheaper way I could see it? And then I'd look on the internet and probably find a performance, or I'd look to see in some off Broadway theater in another city. It's $50 here. Yeah, I'll wait till it comes to Des Moines and I'll go watch it there. Carter, I wonder if Lauren Boebert will go to this. And I wonder if she'll get her jugs manhandled too. Yeah, wasn't that stupid? Sticks and Hammer talked about Lauren Boebert. He's back on Rumble, by the way. If you missed his videos, he went back to Vermont for some reason and forgot his YouTube passwords or Google key passwords for his videos, so he couldn't upload to YouTube, but he can upload to Rumble and Bitchute. So he did do videos the last couple of days, and one of them was on... Oh, Arden is here. Hello, be right back. Hello. So he did do a video today, or yesterday, on Lauren Boebert situation. And it's stupid. Now, he called it a nothing burger, which I agree with him, but if you're a Republican congresswoman, even if she's getting divorced, she's separated, okay, I get it. You want to go out and have some fun now that you got rid of your husband. But don't do it publicly. Go do that behind closed doors. You're playing grab ass in the theater and vaping. You're not supposed to be vaping. It's just rude and stupid. Like, if it was a normal person, if you were just rich or a celebrity, fine, who cares? You're just being a jerk, but forget it. But you're a Republican congresswoman. You can't do this stuff. They're gunning for you 24/7. It makes you look like a hypocrite. I mean, she's got great jugs, don't get me wrong. I would like to grab those jugs, but... And I'll say this. The guy she's dating took a huge risk doing that, too. Because if she had decided to throw him under the bus to save her political career, she could have turned around and said, oh, I didn't ask him to do that. He assaulted me. And then where would he be? He'd be in trouble then. Oh, looks like I'm blowing up on the phone. Hold on. I've told people I was doing a live stream. Live streaming. Boom. Now watch them come in and annoy me. So, yeah, I mean, what are you doing? You're a Republican congresswoman. Don't do that. Don't be seen doing it, at least. Do that stuff in your apartment or wherever you're living, or your car or private area. Then if you get caught doing it, people can say, you're filming people where they're having an intimate moment. Leave them alone. Like, you're doing it in public. That's a little not as classy. Now, it was dark in that theater. I'll say that. What you're seeing in that footage is night vision. So they thought nobody could see them. So it's not, they weren't totally being stupid, but I think vaping, and then someone asks you to please stop vaping, you shouldn't be vaping in the theater. I don't want to smell that crap. That stuff's all chemicals. It's awful. I think I'd rather smell cigarette than vape. Vape is so, I don't know, it's so weird. I don't get people who vape. Does anybody vape? Don't vape. That stuff's no good for you. No good. I think that's worse than cigarettes. She shouldn't be doing it either. Not healthy. Oh, yeah, so Paranormal Activity on Broadway. Oh my God, we're being haunted by a fabulous ghost. The Wonder Years was canceled at ABC after 2 seasons. This was the Black Wonder Years. So they just did the Wonder Years with a completely black cast. Okay. Gee, I can't understand why it's not still on the air. The same show, only they changed the race of the cast? Carter. Politicians should stay out of theaters. First Lincoln, now this. Bravo. Bravo. That was funny. That was funny. First Lincoln, now this. This day will be a day in infamy. This is a big. Somebody's going to write a history book on incidents in theaters with politicians. First there was Lincoln. Then like a long thing about Lincoln and how terrible it was. Then there was Lauren Boebert. Ardent, back. They did the black. I don't know if I could say that. Yes, they did the Black something Wonder Years. They did. It seems stupid that they even redid this show. Like, the show already took place in the past. It was already a flashback. It's a flashback, like when they did the Wonder Years, it was at a time when people who were old enough to remember that era would have been nostalgic for it, right? So it was, it would have been middle-aged guys going, oh, when I was a kid, I lived like that, and this is a cool show, and you could sit down and watch it with your kids, maybe. Like, now they do it like those guys are grandpas, if they're still alive. Ardent, the Trudeau Wonder Years should be a YouTube safe. Oh, now I'm getting text threatening to come into my live stream. Come in, you cowards. I don't care. They won't, because then I'll out them who they are. Yeah, it's just, who cares about the Wonder Years? I mean, the show was okay, but it wasn't great. I never even watched it. I just thought, oh, okay. Looks fine. What else? Writers Guild meeting with top showrunners canceled as negotiations poised to resume. Okay. Here's what I said they should do. Meet with, say, Netflix or some studio that could have clearly afford your demands say, if you meet our demands, all your productions can move forward by yourselves. Like, divide and conquer them. Aren't it? WTF? Somebody's threatening to give an excuse to be even snarkier? In the words of Joe Swanson, bring it on! I can't do Joe Swanson. That's Putty from Seinfeld. It's the same guy. He's got a great voice, though. I loved him as the Tick. He was good as the Tick. Well, and Russell Brand knocked Danny Masterson off the front page, you'll notice. Danny Masterson was all the rage most of the week, and then, boom, Russell Brand all of a sudden. Oh, this is a new headline, I think. A bleeding fool, Senator Rubio urges U.S. Southern Command to uncancel Sound of Freedom screenings. Oh, that's right. They canceled them for some reason. Ardent, he also played the Tick, and you're saying it. Yes. Storebang Entertainment is here. Snark makes the world go round. It certainly does. Or does it? Yeah, so, Ardent at Storebang Entertainment, indeed. That and Spite. Yeah, somehow, I don't know, the U.S. Southern Command canceled the screening of The Sound of Freedom. I don't know, were they pro child trafficking or something? Like, I don't know why you would cancel that movie. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with the military one way or another. I mean, like, why would you cancel that? Like, they were worried about Eric Bana in the Hulk smashing tanks in like 2001, 2002, because it was right after 9/11, and he didn't want to make the Army look bad. And that was the stupidest excuse I've ever heard. But I guess there's a certain logic to it. There's like no logic to this. Why would you cancel the screening of Sound of Freedom to a bunch of soldiers? Like, do you think they're going to get mad and revolt? Like, the Army is not really involved in anything related to that, although they should be involved with securing the border, and they might be in the not too distant future. But yeah, it just seems weird. Storebang, I was here last week too, but didn't comment. I was cooking pork chops and needed to focus. Ah, pork chops, delicious. I cook pork chops on my grill. I like the boneless pork chops. And my supermarket has a deal where they take the thick cut pork chops and they cut them real thin. Maybe about 3 layers per pork chop. And then they spread them out on a sheet, like a sheet with the plastic over it. And you get about 9 pieces, but they cook real fast, right? So you can just throw them on the grill, even like frozen solid. And they cook rather quickly on the grill. And then you can eat them. They're delicious. Ardent, is the Southern Command involved in border control? Might be concerned about about looking bad for the civ-like properties of the Mexican-American border. They are not technically. I mean, a few of them are, but it's not. The Border Patrol are supposed to be responsible. They're not. I think some of them are involved in border security right now, but they're not really doing much other than capturing people and then letting them go into the country. Like, it doesn't matter if you capture people right now, because they just capture you, put you in a detainment facility until it gets too crowded and they're forced to let you go. Like, nobody's being sent back. Like, no one is being sent out of the country. The worst case scenario, you're stuck in the facility longer. Or maybe they find out you're a 3-time murderer and, I don't know, send you back to Mexico, where you just come across the border again. But I don't know that they're sending anybody back. I don't think they are. Not many. So it's just bogged down in a bunch of paperwork, and most people are getting in. So, and that's not the fault of the Southern Command. They have to listen to the president, and the current president doesn't care. So, I don't know. Carter, I wasn't here last week. I was in Detroit seeing Tucker Carlson. Ooh, how was that? Arden, pork chops. Marinate in the sweet juice. I like blueberry most, but cranberry raspberry is good. With vinegar, savory, it's an ancient English herb, mustard, garlic, and onion powder, 24 to 48 hours. That does sound delicious. Does sound delicious. A bag in the fridge, fry up, covered with mushrooms and red onions. Serve with rice or noodles. That does sound good. I put them on the grill, usually because I'm in such a hurry to eat. I give one to Joan. I can't really spice all my food because I usually feed Joan a pork chop, so I got to keep it plain. And if I spice everything up, it's no good for her. So I keep everything plain, and then I put barbecue sauce on it. But ardent, very juicy and sweet tasting. See, I love onions. I would do that in a heartbeat, but Joan. So what I do sometimes is I'll cook one plain, set it aside, and then cook the rest. But ardent, could probably grill them my way too. That's true. That is true. I don't know, it's another step to cooking. Carter, you said earlier we weren't going to talk about food. Not that I'm complaining. Well, it always comes back to food for me. I actually hardly cooked this weekend at all. I was just so busy, I had no time. I had food to cook, and I didn't cook it. I bought a bunch of meat, and I've cooked none of it. I've got a pork loin in the fridge I was going to cook today, but I had half a stromboli, so I said, screw it, I'm just going to eat that. Ardent, LOL, sorry, Carter. It's a passion of mine, pork. I'll tell you what you do. You take a bunch of pork, like a shoulder, put that sucker in a crock pot with all the stuff you just said, some onions and potatoes, maybe some carrots. Throw that in there in the morning. By dinner time, you'll have a nice pork shoulder that's just falling apart. And then you could pull it apart, eat it, or you could just put it on a sandwich. Fantastic. Fantastic stuff. I have a crock pot. I haven't used it in ages, but again, I'm always just so busy. Just too busy these days. I'm like a monk. You know how the monks, they just garden and cook, and they just have this, like a little bit of food that normally, except for this week, because I was so busy, I treated myself, but that's the way I normally am now. I make a tiny bit of food, I eat it, and then I'm done. Ardent, oh yeah, Stormy does slow cooker pulled pork, delicious. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I like to cook, but I rarely have the time or the patience, and it depends on the ingredients. It's really all about the ingredients. So I got one time, my friend just called me up and said, we should do steaks. He's like, do you feel like doing steaks? And I'm like, okay. So we split it, but I went to the butcher, like a really good butcher, and got like porterhouse steaks and made steaks, and they were awesome. And I think I made potatoes, maybe string beans, I don't remember. Man, they were good. They were so good. We ate them outside, and it was cool. Yeah, I don't know. This week I'll have lots of free time, but next month I think I've got 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, So far, I've got 15 events next month in October. And I may have a couple of more. I may have forgotten to write one up there. So I may already be up to 16, but it's going to be crazy. Speaking of crazy, I need a timeout. I got to go pee. I'll be right back. Oh. Can't wait. Sorry. Intermission. Talk amongst yourselves. Come here, you. Come here. Gotcha, Little Joan. Little Joan is back. Little Joan back in the stream. Oh, sorry. Sorry, everyone. What did I miss? Ardent, Tony's new stream. Wistful food memories. Ah, yes. LOL. Ardent, quick. Gamer world word the chat. What does that mean? Sorbang, have you guys watched any episodes of Man Heat yet? It's on my channel, and boy, is it outrageous. Oh, that's right. I forgot you do that. Everybody go watch Storebang Entertainment's Man Heat. He's got a little show there. Check it out. Give him an upvote. So, I do have some interesting news from the weekend that I just remembered now that I've peed and now I'm not anxious to, I don't know, go pee. So, I was at the pirate thing yesterday and a guy comes up to the table and he's kind of a frustrated writer. He had glasses, he had long hair, he worked as one of the vendor food guys, but he said he was a writer and he wants to write comics. And you know me, I'm the old veteran. Ardent, be right back, gonna go check and see why I'm not getting notifications for Storebang. Oh yeah, weird. I wouldn't be surprised. YouTube's falling apart, I think. So he comes up to me and as the old veteran, I start telling him about comics and my experiences and telling him like, yeah, you can't really make money in comic books right now unless you're doing a Kickstarter, and you know it's really tough. I think that's the way things are going. I think the mainstream stuff is dead. And I said, he said, why? He asked me why mainstream comics were dead. I said, it's because they are chasing Carter Chain. YouTube hates Tony. It certainly does. It absolutely hates me. I mean, I bet you no one gets my notifications. Like, no one. I don't even know why they haven't canceled my channel yet. I'm kind of just waiting for them to cancel my channel, by the way. In which case, my live streams will be on Rumble. 99%. I looked into Twitter live streams today, but I have no idea how to do them. So I might try to do one just for fun, just to test it out. I really want to do what Sticks and Hammer does, which is to do simultaneous live streams, but I need like SteamYard to do that, and it's a bit complicated. I don't know. Plus, I'd have to pay money every month to StreamYard. But anyhow, Storebang. Oh shucks, thought I'd take the opportunity to shill my series while you were away. No, no worries. No worries. I like the aesthetic of Man Heat. Looks good. Looks good. It's a funny name, Man Heat. Ardent. LOL. YouTube's unsub me from Storebang, and I don't recall ever getting a notification. I get yours, Tony, from Storebang, so they must have done it as soon as I sub. Weird. I'm not surprised, though. I'm not surprised. My channel went dead about a week and a half ago. And for 2 weeks, all my videos just... And then suddenly I had a big hit, and then it all came back again. But now that I'm every time I gain traction, it's like they cut my knees out from under me and it goes to hell. Ardent, after I finish this in real life job, I will possibly be going back to daily stuff. Yeah, it's tough to do daily videos. I mean, I'm lucky that I have a lot of time right now as a writer. If I have to go back to a day gig, whew, that'll be brutal. My videos will be much shorter. The YouTube ones will probably stay the same, but Hollywoke Hot Take and News Blast, they'll have to be very short. Ardent, mine has finally started to lose subs after about 2 months of next to no content beyond the occasional short. Yeah, that's the other thing with the shorts. It's like, you know, they encourage you to do shorts, and then one week I decide, all right, I'm going to do a bunch of shorts. I'm going to try to do a short every day. And you do one day. The first 2 days, I get good traction. Then the next 2 days, nothing. And it just dies. It's like they want you to do more, but not too much more. And figuring out where that balance is so impossible on YouTube. You just... Meanwhile, like over at Bitchute, Rumble, Odysee, it's very simple. Ardent, going lurk mode for a bit. Alrighty. Anyhow, I wanted to tell you the story about these two different fans. So this guy, he's asking me about comics, and I'm telling him about the industry. And I eventually say, the reason mainstream comics are dead is because they, and I didn't want to say they went woke, because I sensed he wouldn't, I didn't want to have to explain woke, because he didn't know what ESG was. So ESG, if I didn't explain it before, stands for Environmental Social Governance Score. It is a social credit score for corporations to make them do social justice things. And it's a real thing, and I thought people knew about it, but apparently this dude did not, or he doesn't believe it. Because the moment I mentioned that, I saw him like kind of twitch, like, oh no. And he starts looking at the stuff on my table as I'm trying to explain it, and he sees Hollywoke, another novel, and Wokistan, a novel. And he says, excuse me, I can't listen to any more of this. I just saw woke in your titles, and I can't stand that BS. And then he walked away very angry. And that was at the pirate event. And I just thought, well, that's weird. You asked me for advice. And then you asked me what ESG was and why the comic book mainstream was failing. And I was giving you an explanation, but the explanation you didn't like. So imagine you go up to somebody, you know, and you're getting an explanation, but you don't like it, so you just bail mid-explanation. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, maybe later he could process that a little bit, or maybe he could realize, I mean, it's probably not the first time he's heard that explanation, but apparently he doesn't like it. So the guy who's apparently never finished a comic, knows better than me, and walked away. But then today was the complete opposite, because I got this guy who came up to the table with his girlfriend, and I was telling him about the Pineys, doing my whole Piney shtick, and he goes, "Wait a minute, Hollywoke?" And my first thought was like, oh no, I hope this isn't another one. But no, he was totally red pill. And in fact, he used all lingo like that. Red pill. He knew all the very based YouTubers like Mark Dice and all these guys. And his girlfriend immediately bought Hollywoke, another novel, which was good, because they needed one more sale to make it like kind of an okay day. And he went on and on. He knew just about everybody in the YouTube community who's based. He was a big fan of Neurotic. I turned him on to James Lindsay, of course. He didn't know him. So he's in for a very interesting ride, I think, on the YouTubes. So, but he just went on and on. And in fact, he kind of stuck me at the table for a while, but it was dead by that time, so I didn't mind. And we chatted for a good long time about various based things. And the reason I mention this is because the first guy, to me, is the old guard. You know, he is stuck in the past. He's frustrated. He doesn't know why yet, or he refuses to admit why he's sort of stuck. And just refuses to see the writing on the wall with regard to current day comics. Whereas this guy was super excited. He was energetic. He was shot out of a cannon. He was so excited. He was doing stuff. He had this interesting. He wants to do this thing with origami. I don't know. I didn't quite understand it. He gave me an origami crane. He's working on that. He's working on a whole character and thing. But he was excited. He was energized. He said he had been a leftist, and now he got red-pilled in 2015, and now he sort of see things for what it is. And I was telling him how things are going back to more traditional things. He was very excited about that. He's like, me and my girlfriend, and he's in a nice relationship, and they're thinking about the future and kids, and how they're going to raise their kids, and how they're going to keep them keep them away from public schools. So it was very heartening. Is that the word? Heartening? It was very good to see a fan in a comic book event that was very based in red pill. And in fact, I was sitting next to another creator who was conservative. He considers himself conservative. And then across the way was another guy who, a very nice guy, but I know him as, he's very liberal. And, it was just interesting to see. You could feel the room shift a little bit, even though there weren't a lot of people there. It was interesting to hear a fan so excited about the world, not necessarily about the politics. Ardent, uplifting. Yeah, I felt so too. It wasn't necessarily about the politics for him. It was more about the culture opening up. It was like he had been trapped, and now he was freed for the first time in his life when he got red-pilled. And like the whole world has opened up to him. And the fact that he was learning origami, that was like part of his thing. And he learned it. He showed me some pieces. They were pretty cool. It was like he's doing things. Whereas the other guy was just pissed off. The other guy was just pissed off, hadn't done a damn thing, was mad at his life, was mad at me now, and just walked off, refusing to listen. Whereas this guy, he would have talked to me all day if I had let him. So it was nice to see. And, he was encouraging me. He was like, man, you got to keep doing this. This is what we need. We need more original characters. And So he knew the whole deal with Marvel and DC and all that. So real positive today in terms of the fans. I think it's a kind of a watershed for the local fandom, at least around me, to even see one guy like that. Because 2 years ago even, never would have seen a guy like that. Nah. Other than that one conservative creator who I'd seen before and hung out with before, the place, the comic book shows, mostly dead politically, but when politics came up, oh boy, you better keep your mouth shut. You know, and even the guy who was red pilled, I was like, oh, don't get too loud. I'm not totally 100 convinced we're safe yet. But yeah, you can feel a shift in the air. Ardent. Some people find solace in rage. Unfortunately, others find rage drives them to produce refutations of the things that outrage them. Yes. Yeah, I mean, you gotta channel that rage into something positive. I think with the guy who was frustrated, I think he just wanted what he wanted, and when he didn't get it the way he wanted, and I can kind of relate to that because I was kind of like that when I was younger. You know, I was just very frustrated. My ideas weren't immediately being accepted, and I wasn't being carried around on a litter by fans. It was frustrating, but looking back on it, it's like naive to think you should just be embraced so readily. It's very rare. You know, you see other people get embraced like that. They're kind of either lucky, or they're in the system, or they just hit on something that was readily embraced at the right time. It's just the way it works. Whereas to see the second guy so energized and so positive, really. The first guy was everything negative, and the second guy was everything positive. The first guy was alone in a job he hated. The second guy had his girlfriend. He was having a great time. So, it's just night and day. Night and day. Steve Martin got dragged this week. And I'm a huge fan of Steve Martin from back in the day. He's not exactly red-pilled, but I kind of always liked him. I always thought he was very funny. Except when he did Pink Panther movies. I don't know what he was thinking. But one of his co-stars like accused him of being a jerk on set, and it's just like, and this is from 1986. Like, I don't even remember people I met in 1986. And I was around then. I was 20. Like, to remember people from that far back, and then to say, well, I'm doing an interview where I tell the truth about what happened 37 years ago. Who the F cares? You would think Steve Martin murdered somebody, or ran the woman off the road with her puppies into a ditch. Ardent, love atheist ain't got no songs. Oh, he's got a lot of good songs. It's just like something that happened to you 37 years ago. I'm sure if I traveled back in time 37 years ago and talked to my younger self, I'd be ranting and raving. My younger self would be ranting and raving about everybody who had wronged him. But I'd be like, oh yeah, I vaguely remember that. I don't care anymore. These people, they're old, and I guess they're desperate for some amount of attention. So, this is a memoir from this woman, Oh Miriam, Stories from an Extraordinary Life, a veteran actress, wrote about being in Little Shop of Horrors with Steve Martin. And she didn't like it. She didn't like it, even though in Little Shop of Horrors, Steve Martin plays an obnoxious character, and he was a comedian. And it's like, comedians do outrageous, stupid things. I did it when I was doing comedy and stuff. I'm sure if I was worldwide famous, people would come out of the woodwork and say, he was terrible. But who cares? It was 37 years ago. 37 years. Did he murder your pet? Then I don't care. Did he attack you? No. He was just on a movie goofing around. Usually, we just move on with our lives and forget about it. But it's like, These people have so little going on in their life, they have to talk and talk and talk about this. I mean, I talk about working for Bill Maher, but I don't badmouth the guy. I couldn't even think of anything to really badmouth him about. I never even met the dude. I just wrote jokes for him. I could say, well, he didn't really deliver the joke the way I imagined it. So what? So what? I got my $75 a joke. I don't care. It's like, people, just move on with your life. It's so pathetic to me. But I guess it's a way to sell the book. I guess she's going to be selling tons of books now, because now she's in the news. And, oh, Steve Martin, no, he's not such a nice guy after all. How long has Steve Martin been around? No one's ever said a nasty thing about the dude. It's like Martin Short. They tried to drag Martin Short. He just came out with a book. The guy's considered one of the nicest guys in Hollywood, or is the whole thing a setup? I just thought of that. Maybe that was a setup. Maybe they dragged him on purpose so everybody would defend him, and then he would sell books. Genius, if true. Machiavellian in its production. But he didn't have a book coming out. She does. Weird. Just weird. People are nuts. All right. Checking over at Deadline. More on the strikes. Harry Potter UK audiobooks narrator Stephen Fry warns that AI ripoff of his voice is only the beginning. Sue him, Stephen. Why, you got money and you're alive. That's what I would say. The Writers Guild is suing ChatGPT and Meta. It's a multi-million-dollar lawsuit involving hundreds of authors. So that could set the precedent for the future on AI. CBS announcer has fun with rumored Travis Kelce Taylor Swift matchup. Okay. Don't know what that's about. Yeah, it's all the same stuff. All the same stuff. American Fiction wins Toronto Film Festival's People's Choice Award. Oscar Harbinger? I don't know this movie. American Fiction. Maybe. Haven't heard a thing about it. Checking over at... Oh, this is a weird story from Cosmic Book News. Aquaman 2 kills baby. Viewers walk out. So, apparently, in Aquaman 2, in the original cut, what is it? Black Manta kills Aquaman and Mera have a baby from the first movie, and Black Manta kills him in a scene where he burns down a house with the baby in it, or the baby suffocates, something like that. Carter Chain, you don't care about who Taylor Swift is dating now? I do not. Unless she's dating me, I don't care. I would date Taylor Swift. Yeah. She'd write a lot of weird songs about me afterwards, though. But I think it would be worth it to bang her. So, Aquaman 2, the movie, kills a baby. Now, it tested so poorly in the focus groups, they cut the scene out and replaced it with something else. And I thought, well, that's crazy. Why would they do that? Well, it turns out they did it in the comic books. Black Manta killed Aquaman's son in the comic books. I had no idea. Black Manta does kill Aquaman's son, Arthur Curry Jr., a.k.a. Aquababy. But, yeah, who would want to see that? Ardent, Tony dates Taylor Swift. First good album ever. I didn't think they did anything like this in the comics. My God. Aqua Baby? They killed Aqua Baby? That's crazy. But yeah, it didn't test well in screenings. So I have to hand it to them that they even tried it, was being true to the comic. But then again, Aquaman, was it really a good comic? It was never really a good comic, except maybe Peter David's run was okay. Thought he did some cool stuff with him, but Black Manta killed his baby? And in the comics, he was called Aqua Baby? That's nuts. But yeah, it would be insane to put it in a movie. It would be too sad. Way too sad. And parents would not want to see that. I think I told you a story. My friend, who was very much into horror movies, watched some of the most brutal movies around. Movies I couldn't even watch back in the day. He told me one time, I can't watch movies where children are in danger anymore ever since I had a kid. So he could, oh my God, he'd lose his damn mind if he saw a movie like that, which is why the focus group hated it so much. Quite frankly, it probably shouldn't have been in a comic. That's a little too grim for the comic. I don't know what they were thinking doing it in the comic. So this is probably a good move. This is, to me, an example of what a positive focus group, like, focus groups cannot make movies good, but they can make terrible movies kind of watchable. So that the focus group had such a visceral reaction to these scenes and say, oh God, that they probably made the right move here. Viewers walked out. Yeah, like a lot of, I can imagine that. I just would have been like, oh, whoa. Ardent, comics used to be pretty wild in the 80s, apparently. Well, I mean, there wasn't... I don't remember Aqua Baby dying. That feels like a 70s thing, but, you know, comics were there, but they weren't super important. So they would do different things. You know, there was a lot of talent there. And mostly in the 70s, they would just do different things, whatever they wanted to get attention. And there wasn't a thought of like, oh, this is going to make the company look bad or anything like that. They were just trying to sell comics. When they got bought by corporations, it all changed. Ardent, it feels pre-crisis, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's definitely pre-crisis. That is definitely a pre-crisis art. Here's something. Tim Burton thinks The Flash used AI for Nick Cage Superman. Isn't happy. That's what it looked like to me, actually, now that you mention it. I saw that scene, and it looked weird, and I thought, that's weird. I guess it's computer generated. I didn't think AI generated, but I guess it could have been. But if Nick Cage got paid, and Tim Burton got paid, maybe? But can he sue over it? I don't know. If he got paid, he can't. I think if he took the money, he can't. Oh, and just for the record, according to Cosmic Book News, the Black Wonder Years that was canceled at ABC got better ratings than Ms. Marvel. Ardent, did he play as skinny Flashpoint Superman? Nick Cage was another Superman that you see. There's like one quick scene of it where you're seeing all the different alternate universes. You see a computer generated Christopher Reeve Superman. I'm not sure if you saw a Adam West Batman or not. I didn't see the movie. I saw clips of it. but I definitely saw the Nick Cage scene because I wanted to see it, and somewhere on YouTube. Ardent, LOL, better ratings than Ms. Marvel, not a challenge. Yeah, exactly. But they canceled it, is the point. Like, they canceled Black Wonder Years. It had better ratings than Ms. Marvel. They're not making a movie about the Black Wonder Years. They're making a movie with Ms. Marvel. That does not bode well. On The Rock returned to WWE, if anybody cares about that. Yeah, it all looked, a lot of it looked computer generated for the the Flash, but it might have been AI generated, I guess. What's the difference between computer generated and AI generated? I guess computer generated, it was sort of done with a human, and then AI generated, maybe they used pictures and then the AI filled in the blanks. Ardent, gonna have to see that flick at some point. Definitely not paying for it though. Yeah, I can see it on Max, but I don't know. I got things to do. Like, feels like such a waste of time to watch a movie like that. I don't watch movies that are good that I want to watch, but I did watch One Piece, the first episode. That was really good. I'd watch a second episode of that. Wasn't bad. It was fun. I kind of want to watch it up to the big sword fight scene that I saw a clip from, and that looked pretty interesting. And I think they kill one of the characters off, which is also pretty interesting. Hugh Jackman's getting divorced. Sad. 27 years. That's so sad. I feel bad for people getting divorced. I really do. I can kind of sympathize with them. It's rough. But 27 years? You put in 27 years and then you leave? I tell you, it's rough. Ardent, oh, saw Renfield finally. Peak Cage. Really? JEC did not like Renfield at all. But Cage's makeup looked cool. Peak Cage. I want to see. Speaking of Nick Cage, I want to see the Nick Cage movie where he plays himself. I forget what it's called, like The Unbelievable Talent or something like that. And like Pedro Pascal plays like his number one fan, but he's a billionaire, and he brings him to an island and pays him all this money, but he won't leave him alone. I kind of want to see that. Carter Chain, should I watch One Piece? My friends are always talking about. I gotta say it was pretty good. Like, it has no politics in it, number one. Number two, it is very much, I mean, if you like manga, because it is it's a very manga concept. You know, they just keep introducing you to all these concepts. It's like, oh, and then this is how the world works, and this is where we're going, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's a lot of concepts. It's its own world. It's very much its own thing, which I appreciate it. So if you like world building, it is building this world from the ground up, and it is a completely different world. At first, I didn't quite get it, because it seemed to have things in it that was our world, and I thought, that's not really going to jive, but no, it totally works, because it's like, it's its own thing. It's completely separate from our world. It's literally a world of pirates. So if you like those elements, I would say watch it. I thought it was fun. It's a fun, light TV show, and it just goes from one thing to the next. And I didn't think they'd be able to do the main character Luffy has stretchy powers, which I didn't quite get. But then I watched the episode and I'm like, okay, this is a perfectly fine explanation for that world. Ardent, Burden of Unbearable Talent or something? Yeah, that's it. Ardent, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. That's it. Yeah, I kind of want to see that still. It didn't do very well. It's probably not that great, and I kind of don't like Pedro Pascal, but I'll tolerate him to watch Nick Cage play himself. I think it would be worth it to watch on a stream, a streamer service if I could find it for free. I wouldn't pay for it, but maybe $2. If it was like $2.99 or something, I'd watch it and rent it. So I can wait for these movies. None of them are that important. That's the thing. Like One Piece is the closest thing I watched recently that felt like I gotta watch this. It's kind of an event. It's a positive thing. It's good. Everybody's seeing it. I think I need to see it, and I'm glad I did. Alright, gotta go. Have a woman waiting to hear from me. Have a good rest of the night. See you next week, God willing. Say hi to Stormy, Arden. Good to hear from you. What time is it? Oh, it's almost 9. So, we're not going too much longer. Let's see. Over at the wrap. Have anything here? We kind of covered all that and talked about that. Oh, don't want that to come up. Let's just click away. Here we go. Woke singer Maren Morris claims she's leaving country music because of Donald Trump. I don't know who this woman is. I don't know why you would leave country music. Country music has gone woke too. Singer Maren Morris proclaimed that she is ditching country music due to the problems of the Trump years have apparently brought upon the genre. Quote, after the Trump years, people's biases were on full display, Morris said in an interview with the Los Angeles Times. Oh, God. It just revealed who people really were, and that they were proud to be misogynistic and racist and homophobic and transphobic. Oh, my God. Morris is well known for pushing leftist agendas. It was just last year when she infamously launched vicious insults against the wife of country singer Jason Aldean, Brittany, because she had dared to oppose the mutilation of children. Members of the media jumped to Morris's defense. Billboard framed the situation as Brittany being called out for her remarks, which were disingenuously portrayed as a transphobic joke. No, the only thing that's a joke is the mainstream media. Oh, good. Leave country music. Maybe it'll be better for you leaving. I don't know what you're going to go to. I'm sure you want to continue to make oodles and scads of cash, but I'm guessing her agent probably told her to make this move. That would be my guess. Was there anything else? I think that was about it. Yeah, bunch of stuff on the post-millennial, but nothing Hollywoke. Nothing Hollywoke. Anyhow, let's wrap things up. And what did we learn today? Well, we learned a lot of talk shows aren't coming back because of the writer's strike and because of Drew Barrymore's terrible handling of it. We learned that there's a lot of Halloween movies coming out, and The Nun Part 2 is probably one of the biggest ones. We learned that The Exorcist sequel may be the next big one, and Five Nights at Freddy's probably going to be the biggest one. At least they promoted it like it's going to be the biggest one. We learned that Store Bang Entertainment is still doing Man Heat on his channel. So check out Storm Bang Entertainment and Man Heat. And what else did we learn? Well, I think we learned that I'm very tired and had a very long week. And that I need a nap. Final thoughts. And if anybody has any suggestions for next week, let's see, will I have any time next week? See what time I get back from the art fair. I may be late with the stream next week, so next week may not be the best time for me to do a theme. But if you have any questions, let me know. Kite didn't make it into the stream. I'm very shocked. Or was he here the whole time? Kite, are you in here? Were you just quiet, hanging out in the stream? Last week he bought five memberships for the members only section. So I have now 6 members in the members only section. So now I'm doing videos every week, like twice a week. And that's about it, really. We talked about some old movies, talked about Flashpoint, talked about Nicolas Cage and AI. I don't think AI is that big of a threat. I think it's kind of a threat to certain jobs, certain boring jobs that were probably going to be people were going to be replaced anyway. You know, it's going to be the kind of thing where, you know, when they talk about replacing jobs of, say, like cleanup crew, for a while it's going to be, it'll still be regular crews, but eventually they'll work some robots into the mix. So instead of having 4 guys clean a building, they'll have like 3 and some robots. Then they'll have like 2 and some robots. Then they'll have like 1 and the robots. And then it'll just be robots. It'll just be a guy dropping off the robots, or robots dropping off the robots, or robots in the building cleaning the building all on their own. So yeah, over a period of time, I think eventually some people will get replaced, but I think we're pretty far away from that. And you know, when you're talking about robots operating on their own, they always malfunction, they fall down the stairs, they get stuck in a corner, stupid things happen to them. People are going to steal them, break them. So I don't think it's a huge thing to worry about as of yet. Down the road, maybe 20 years, maybe. I definitely don't think it's a problem for writers that are any good. I think it's a problem for the writers that suck. I think there's a bunch of sucky writers out there, and the AI could probably run circles around them, but not me. I've tried to work with the AI, so it's just nuts. It's easier just for me to write things than to write the AI. I got frustrated doing the AI generated comic. Now I can't do art, but the AI can do it, so that's fine. Although it's not great, it's gotten slightly better. So I have the AI do the art, and then I just make up the word balloons now, because trying to get it to script is impossible. It's like impossible. I'd had to edit it so heavily anyway, just to make a little bit of sense. Or just to make it a little bit funny. It just wasn't worth it. I'd rather just make up stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm on the spectrum and I'm just really good at making up stuff, but seems to me that robots aren't going to replace me anytime soon. I don't think a robot wants to be this broke. And that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more bass takes. What's going on this week? Well, tomorrow I'm having a day off. It's a long time since I had a day off. I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to relax. I'm not going to do crap tomorrow. Next week I'll be at the art fair. I think it's in Greenwich, New Jersey. That's a 2-day affair. I've been looking forward to that. So that's going to be interesting. And October's just around the corner, man. It's crazy. This is a crazy month for me. Crazy couple of months. Oh, and just around the corner is the next Pineys book, book 13. I got to get going on the editing. And the cover's coming soon. Vig Starmax, my cover artist, is working on the cover. He sent me some preliminaries. They look fantastic. I can't wait. His preliminary covers, he sends me like the just like, oh, I'm thinking of this for the layout. And his sketch just for the layout looks better than some artists I've seen when they're finished. That's how good he is. All right, I'm going to take a little break ski. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.